You said tomorrow, not once, not twice. You've been saying it for years. Tomorrow I'll train. Tomorrow I'll get disciplined. Tomorrow I'll lock in. Tomorrow I'll become who I said I would be. And tomorrow keeps moving. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Tomorrow isn't real. It doesn't exist. It never has. Tomorrow is a story weak minds tell themselves so they can stay comfortable today. Right now, while you're watching this, someone else is training. Someone else is getting stronger. Someone else is building discipline. And they're not more talented than you. They're not more gifted than you. They just stopped negotiating with themselves. You didn't fail because you're incapable. You failed because you delayed. You hesitated. You chose comfort when discipline was required. And every time you said, tomorrow, you cast a vote against the person you could have been. This isn't a hype video. This isn't entertainment. This is a mirror. Because deep down, you already know this. You know exactly what you should be doing. You know the workout you skipped, the alarm you silenced, the discipline you postponed. And here's the brutal part. Every excuse you made sounded reasonable. Every delay felt justified. That's how people lose. Not in dramatic failure, but in quiet decisions no one else sees. So listen carefully. This moment, right now, this is the line. On one side, the same habits, same excuses, same regret. On the other, discipline, ownership, progress. No motivation required, no perfect plan needed, just action. Right now, tomorrow, tomorrow is comfort dressed up as optimism. It sounds harmless. It sounds responsible. I'll do it tomorrow when I have more time, when I feel better, when I'm ready. You're lying to yourself, because readiness doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Discipline isn't something you wait for. Discipline is something you execute. Here's what actually happens when you say tomorrow. You reinforce weakness. You train hesitation. You practice quitting. Your brain learns a lesson every time you delay. We don't have to do hard things. And once that lesson sinks in, everything gets harder. The gym gets heavier. The alarm gets louder. The work feels unbearable. Not because the task changed, but because you did. Let me be clear, people don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they negotiate with weakness. High performers don't negotiate. They decide. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what's required? And then they do it. You want confidence. Earn it. You want self-respect. Demonstrate it. You want results. Stop waiting for a feeling that never comes, because tomorrow doesn't make things easier. It makes them heavier. Every delay adds weight. Every excuse stacks pressure. Every skipped rep comes back with interest. You don't wake up one day magically disciplined. You wake up one day regretful because you weren't. And regret is far heavier than effort. So stop lying. If it matters, you do it now. If it doesn't, admit that too. But don't hide behind tomorrow. That's cowardice disguised as patience. Cost of Delaware. Every time you delay action, you pay a price. You just don't see the bill immediately. The cost shows up later, in frustration, in self-doubt, in that quiet voice that says, you could have been more. That voice doesn't scream, it whispers, and it follows you everywhere. In the gym, at work, at night, when everything is quiet. You feel it when you look at people who did the work. Not jealousy, regret. Because you know the gap between you and them isn't talent, it's time wasted. Delay compounds. One missed workout becomes a week. 1 week becomes a month. 1 month becomes a year. And then you tell yourself the most dangerous lie of all. I'm too far behind to start. That's how people quit on themselves permanently. But here's the truth. You're not behind. You're undisciplined, and that's fixable. Right now, the clock doesn't care about your excuses. Life doesn't pause because you hesitated. Opportunity doesn't wait for confidence. You either move or you get moved past. This is why discipline equals freedom. Because when you act immediately, you eliminate doubt, you eliminate debate, you eliminate weakness. Action simplifies everything. No overthinking. No motivation needed. No tomorrow required, just execution. Start the workout, make the call. Do the work. Now, let's kill the biggest lie in self-improvement. Motivation. People say it like it's some sacred force. Like once it shows up, life gets easier. It doesn't. Motivation is unreliable, temporary, emotion-based, and if you're waiting for it, you're already behind. Motivation shows up after action, not before it. It's a byproduct, not a prerequisite. You don't train because you're motivated. You get motivated because you trained. But most people reverse the order. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel strong. That feeling never comes. Why? Because confidence is built through proof. Proof comes from reps, and reps come from discipline, not hype, not music, not quotes. Discipline. High performers understand this. They don't wake up fired up. They wake up committed. They don't rely on mood. They rely on standards. If it's on the schedule, it gets done. If it's required, it's executed. No internal debate. No emotional negotiation. You want to know the real difference between winners and everyone else. Winners act despite resistance. They feel tired. They feel unmotivated. They feel doubt. And they move anyway. That's where the separation happens. Every time you push through resistance, you harden your mind. Every time you quit, you soften it. And a soft mind cannot carry a strong body. A soft mind cannot carry responsibility. A soft mind folds under pressure. So stop asking, how do I get motivated? Wrong question. Ask, what needs to be done regardless of how I feel? Then do it. That's discipline. That's freedom. That's how momentum is built. Comfort is the enemy you invited into your life. It doesn't attack you. It doesn't threaten you. It seduces you. Sleeping a little longer. Skip today. You deserve rest. Scroll instead of train. Eat that. It won't matter. Comfort never feels dangerous in the moment. That's why it wins. But comfort has a long-term cost. It steals your edge. It dulls your instincts. It weakens your tolerance for pain. And once your tolerance drops, everything feels hard. A workout feels overwhelming. Work feels stressful. Life feels unfair, not because life got harder, but because you got softer. Look around. People aren't breaking down from too much hardship. They're breaking down from too little. Too little resistance. Too little struggle. Too little responsibility. Hard times build strong people. Easy times expose weak ones. And right now, comfort is everywhere. That's why discipline is rare. Discipline means choosing pain now so you don't live with regret later. It means embracing difficulty on your terms. Cold mornings, heavy weights, uncomfortable conversations, unseen effort. That's the path. Not balance, not ease, not shortcut. Strength is built under load. Mental toughness is built under pressure. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. And if your discipline is built on comfort, you will fall hard. So do the opposite. Seek difficulty. Choose the hard option. Do the thing you're avoiding. Because every time you reject comfort, you reclaim control. And control is everything. IDIPYSBOILUNDR press RE. Let's get something straight. You don't decide who you are. You prove who you are. Identity isn't a thought in your head. It's a pattern of actions you repeat when it's inconvenient. You can tell yourself you're disciplined. You can tell yourself you're a hard worker. You can tell yourself you're built different. Doesn't matter. What matters is what you do when you're tired, you're stressed, no one is watching, and quitting would be easy. That's the moment your real identity shows up. Pressure doesn't create character. It reveals it. When the alarm goes off early, who shows up? When training hurts, who stays? When progress is slow, who keeps working? That's not motivation. That's not personality. That's standards. People with high standards don't ask, should I? They ask, why wouldn't I? Because quitting isn't an option they entertain. Here's the mistake most people make. They try to change outcomes without changing identity. They want the body, but not the habits. They want the respect, but not the responsibility. They want confidence, but not the discomfort. It doesn't work like that. You earn self-respect by doing things you said you do, especially when it's hard. Every hard rep is a message to yourself. I keep my word. Every time you don't quit, you reinforce that identity, and that identity stacks. Discipline today makes discipline tomorrow easier. Weakness today makes weakness tomorrow louder. You're always training something. The question is, what are you training yourself to be? Here's what makes excuses dangerous. They're smart. They sound logical. They sound reasonable. They sound adult. I'll rest today so I don't burn out. I'm busy. This isn't the right time. I need better conditions. That's not honesty. That's self-deception with a college degree. Excuses don't scream weakness. They whisper rationality. And that's why disciplined people don't argue with them. They ignore them. Because excuses always show up dressed as concern, but they always end in regret. Every excuse has one thing in common: it delays action. And delay is how momentum dies. You don't need perfect conditions. You need commitment. You don't need more time. You need tighter standards. You don't need understanding. You need execution. Here's the rule disciplined people live by: do the work first, explain later. No internal debate, no justification, no story. Action shuts excuses up fast. The moment you move, the argument ends. And the more you act without negotiating, the quieter excuses become. They don't disappear. They just lose authority, because you've proven you don't listen. And once excuses lose authority, you gain control. That's power. Discipline campione desa. Here's what no one tells you about discipline. At first, it's heavy, uncomfortable, relentless. It feels like effort with no reward. That's where most people quit. But discipline compounds the same way weakness does. One workout makes the next easier. One early morning makes the next automatic. One hard decision reduces the cost of the next one. You don't stay disciplined by trying harder. You stay disciplined by not breaking the chain. Consistency beats intensity, always. The goal isn't to be extreme for a week. The goal is to be unbreakable over time. That's when something changes. You stop arguing with yourself. You stop needing hype. You stop searching for motivation. Action becomes default. Training becomes non-negotiable. Work becomes expected. Discomfort becomes familiar. And that's when people start calling you disciplined. Not because you talk about it, but because you don't miss. You show up when it's boring. You execute when it's quiet. You stay locked in when no one is watching. That's real power. Because once discipline is installed, life gets simpler. No drama, no hesitation, no emotional decision making. Just standards and execution. And the best part, discipline gives you options. A strong body gives you confidence. A disciplined mind gives you clarity. And clarity gives you control. That's freedom. Namar tomorrow, boss. Listen to me. This video ends, but your moment doesn't. This is the exact point where people say, I'll start tomorrow. And this is where they lose. Not because they're weak, but because they hesitate. You already know what you need to do. You don't need more information. You don't need another video. You don't need permission. You need action. Not a perfect plan, not a massive overhaul. One decision. Train today. Wake up earlier tomorrow. Do the hard thing you've been avoiding. Start proving through action who you are. Because discipline doesn't care about your past. It only cares about what you do next. You can stay who you've been, or you can become who you said you would be. But you don't get both. This isn't motivation. This is a warning. Every time you delay, you teach yourself it's okay to quit. Every time you act, you build someone who doesn't. So make the choice right now. No excuses, no negotiation, no tomorrow. Get up, get moving, do the work. And once you start, don't stop.